All right, so we are going to be talking today about how to land more brand deals as a micro or nano influencer, or if you're even bigger, then that's great. And um, I want to share with you a little bit of my background as to why I'm qualified to help you understand this process a little bit better, and share with you a little bit about my approach to this and from a buyer's perspective. So I own a social media consulting business, and we hire a lot of micro and nano influencers, meaning people who have less than 20,000 followers, sometimes less than 10,000, sometimes less than 5,000. And then I happen to also be talent manager for a major or for a big influencer, Ralph the Baker, who's just awesome and killing it. So check him out if you like Louisiana Cajun food and great entertainment. But from a buyer's perspective, dealing with influencers, and especially new influencers, and especially micro influencers, I have a lot of frustrations of dealing with them, and I'm hoping I can save you some time and hopefully make you more money by sharing with you some of the things that you can do to make yourself stand out as an influencer. And as I always say, I'm not an influencer. I just hire them. And so, but I do encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give this puppy a thumbs up, comment, ask me questions, do whatever you want. Hit me up with some questions, and I'm happy to answer them for you. But let's dive right in. And the first thing that I want to share with you is just this concept of, something very simple, which is be freaking organized. I mean, take it one level above, living in your parents' basement and hoping that you get rich off an M&M's video. What I mean by that is sometimes I'll reach out to influencers and I'll never even hear from them. Hey, Ralph, how you doing? Speaking of Ralph the Baker, who I just gave a shout out to, but you got to be organized. What I see so often when I'm dealing with micro influencers and small influencers is they just have no freaking clue, A, how to tie their shoes, B, let alone how to be professional, right? And so we want to take it up a level above what we normally would be doing. And so don't just assume that because a brand reached out to you that they're going to put up with super casual communication styles. I can't tell you how annoying it is for me as an old fart, as I am 40 now, how annoying it is for me to deal with some micro or nano influencer who just thinks it's cool to speak in code words and text message language. Well, while that may be cool when you're like hooking up at a party or something, when you're trying to land a brand deal, it's not cool. So the first thing you want to do is be organized. You want to have some form of a media kit that shows off your most popular social media profiles, talking about your engagement, talking about the average watch time and the click-through rate and things like that. But you want to also just be organized and ready to answer questions when people ask you. Have some packages put together, right? So even if you're a micro or nano influencer, if I reach out to you to hire you on behalf of one of the brands that I work with, just because you're a tiny little influencer doesn't mean that I don't expect you to be professional. The second thing that I look for when I'm hiring micro and nano influencers is a common theme, right? And so like Ralph the Baker, who just commented here, you want to have some form of common theme so that people know what you talk about, and so that the community that you identify with is easily identifiable to brands looking to hire you, right? I want to be able to open up your page and say, oh, dang, I know exactly what they talk about, because their last 14 pieces of content, boy, they were all about blah, right? What I don't want is to be able to log onto your page and see your page there and be like, oh, wow, this is cool. And this one here, they're baking a pie. And this one here, they're teaching me how to tie my shoes blindfolded. Oh, and this one here, they teach me how to kick my dog, right? Those three things are unrelated. And one time, not too long ago, I once hired a YouTube quote unquote expert, and I was talking with him about some of the strategies for some of my clients. And I asked him, I said, what's the most common problem amongst YouTubers? Like, what's the most common thing that you run into when you see content creators who aren't growing as fast as they want to? And what he said was, they don't make bingeable content. What that means is they can watch one video and then swipe up and then they're on to the next one. And the next one has some form of consistent theme, right? And it becomes bingeable, just like your favorite TV show or your television series. They're bingeable because you know what to expect. You don't want any surprises. Why do we all love the same movies? Or like we look back and like, man, I freaking love 90210 because I knew what to expect, right? Now, again, I know I'm showing my age here, but just make believe I said something that's modern, which I don't know the name of because I'm old. And so the third tip though is be a little bit more, above what people expect, but know your rates. Now, how do you figure out your rates? That's a super common question. There's one easy way to do it, and there's a tool called Social Blue Book. You can check out Social Blue Book. It's a great tool that'll actually give you an estimated worth of your content. It'll say you put in your YouTube channel, you can put in your Insta channel, you can put in whatever channels you want to, and it'll tell you how much it thinks you should be charging per piece of content or per collaboration. Now, we all know that most people convert better on Facebook, right? Because people are used to going on Facebook and shopping and buying. But TikTok's growing much faster than most of the other social networks right now. And so have your rates reflect the conversion opportunities, right? And so, a lot of people that are looking to work with brands and are sorry, looking to work with brand ambassadors or small influencers, they're just looking to get the word out more, right? When I work with some of my clients and they say, hey, David, go find us some small influencers we can work with, right? They're not looking at people with 700,000 followers or 6 million or something like that, right? If we're looking at a micro or a nano influencer, we're not expecting you to sell 55,000 products. What we're hoping for is a great piece of content that covers some of the benefits that our product or service offers. And so we want to be sure, that your rates reflect what your clients can expect. And so you want to be sure that you know that you have some rates on hand. And if you're wondering how to figure that out, check out Social Blue Book. I'll put a link in the description on YouTube for you, or you can just go, Google Social Blue Book and go and check them out. They have a great evaluation tool to figure out what they think you should be charging. In general, there's a lot of great rules and tools out there for influencers as to what they should be charging. And a lot of people go by the rule of by views or by subscribers, and so essentially it's ends up being around $10 per 1,000 subscribers, and goes up from there. So if you have 500,000 subscribers, then you should be charging $5,000 for a collaboration, etc., etc., etc. Now, knowing this, you should also know what is the bottom of your barrel, right? Because if we know we want to land, those big 6, 7, 8, 10, $15,000 deals, then you also know, like, okay, yeah, but I'm willing to take one for $1,000 because I want the freaking money, or I want people to see me doing brand deals. And so the word gets out there. And so know what your top is, know what your bottom is, but have those rates organized and be a little bit flexible. One of the ways that I like to word it to people if I'm pitching a client to a brand is just kind of throw in this last line at the end of, hey, we're sensitive to your needs, your goals, and your budget. We're willing to work with you to expand upon this proposal or decrease it dependent upon what your budget allows. How does this look to you? And kind of leave it open-ended for them to come back with feedback, right? So we don't want to undercut ourselves right away, but we do want to make sure that if you're flexible on your budget, that we let them know. Because I don't know about you, I would rather land, a $6,000 deal, even though I was hoping to get 8, then I would rather land a $0 deal because I wasn't willing to take a little bit of a hit on my rate. Again, it's all supply and demand, though. If you have people knocking down your door every single day with legitimate deals, then you can stick to your prices. But the thing is, like we used to say in the speaking world, if you're finding yourself too busy, if you're finding yourself out there, too often, and doing so many gigs that you're never home, then you need to charge more, right? The best way to free up your time is to charge more and just land higher paying deals and less of them. So it's just completely up to you. Muddy Outdoors, how you doing? I think I actually just heard about you. Ralph mentioned you to me actually just a moment ago. But so you find yourself if you have too many brand deals, you're like, oh my god, like I'm doing 10 or 12 of these puppies a month. While that could be cool, it might turn up your followers, right? Because your followers don't say just want to follow somebody who's a QVC channel. So how do you lower that rate politely? And how do you lower the amount of influencer deals you're doing out there so you're not turning off your community because they think you're just a glorified pitch man, you're Mr. Pillow all of a sudden? Well, just increase your rates, right? And that'll immediately get rid of the guy who just wants to, hand you a low ball offer so you can endorse his quartz crystal that magically heals cancer, right? And so we just increase our rates, and then magically, what happens? Those less attractive deals will begin to disappear because they don't have the budget to support working with a creator like you. And so the next thing we want to do as a micro or nano influencer, and heck, as a major influencer, is freaking be on time. If I had a dollar bill for every influencer who promised me a post on Thursday and then delivered it Thursday, 45 days late, I would be a rich man. So look, there's a reason we put down things in writing because we expect it. Why is being on time important though? Other than the obvious of like, boy, I kept my word and I show that I have integrity. But other than just that like integrity issue, the other issue is for the brand, right? Because the brands are on a content calendar. They have a schedule of what they're trying to do. They may be working on a quarterly calendar. And so if you're 2 weeks late with your piece of content, you could be screwing up a whole lot of other things besides just your relationship with that brand and also that brand's influencer manager. So just be on time. And if you're running late, just tell us. Just let me know. But don't like, just disappear into the smoke and mirrors and hope we'll forget and then hire you again because we won't. But also, if you're going to be late, let us know and be honest. And here's a hint saying that your dog got COVID, your cat got COVID, your pet hippo got COVID. That excuse is getting pretty old pretty freaking quick. And so, if something happened, then let us know. And if you just forgot, get better. Treat this like a business. So don't just forget because that's not a cool excuse, right? Treat it like a business and be on time. And your word is what we're basing everything off of. So if you tell me you're going to do something, then just freaking do it. And if you're going to be late, then just be honest and tell me. But don't, swing around blowing smoke up people's rear ends because it doesn't work out very well for any of us. The other thing as a micro or nano influencer that you got to be doing is you got to be consistent, right? And what do I mean by consistent? Man, you got to be posting enough so that people know what to expect from you. But more importantly, so that me, if I'm out there and my client told me to go and hire some brand or micro influencer, well, when I come to your page, if you haven't posted in 2 weeks, then I don't know how active you are. I don't know how much engagement you're getting. I don't know how people watch your crap or even care about it. And if you have 600,000 followers and you haven't posted in 4 weeks and you think I'm going to pay you, to come and be an influencer for my client, you're smoking crack, right? And so, be consistent. And how do you become consistent? Maybe for you, maybe you need to batch record and record things, 5 or 6 pieces of content all at once. Or maybe you need to get more organized or schedule things out. Or maybe we just need to come back to the first point that we spoke about, which is treat this like a business. Even if you're watching, you have like 1,000 followers right now or 2,000 followers. You got to treat this like a business, right? You got to treat it for where you want to be, not for where you're currently at. Right? And so be professional, be more professional than the next guy, be on time, treat it like a business, hit every deadline and be consistent and start and have some form of local theme so people know what you're talking about. I mean, a prime example of what not to do, hop on over to my Instagram page at David A. Pride, and you'll see me over there talking about social media. You'll see me talking about mental health. You'll see me talking about my Pomeranians. You'll see me, my God, I don't know, maybe posting up some photos of me in my garden. Well, here's the deal, because I'm not an influencer. I'm not trying to become an influencer. Right. And so I'm not particularly worried about the common theme of how sexy David Pride is because people just know it when they arrive. But if you're trying to turn your business into an influencer business and you want to be making 6 figures a year as an influencer someday, then you're going to want to have some common themes so we know what brands are going to align with you. And my final tip before I hang up this wonderful little call, I don't know if you can hear my cat in the background, but if you can, that's Gilbert. But my final tip is if you're looking for sales as a micro or nano influencer, I think a lot of low hanging fruit that creators forget about is all those local businesses around you. All of them are hearing from consultants like me that they need to be creating more video content. So while they may not have an influencer budget, what you may be able to convince them to do is create UGC or user generated content, right? And so you could go to them and say, hey, Frank's Chocolate Shop, I noticed you guys have an Instagram page, but you're not producing a lot of video content. I'm sure you've heard that video content is the most popular thing right now. Let me show you a couple examples of some of the reels I've created recently. Show them some examples that are relevant to their business and say, I'll tell you what, I would love to work with you and I could create, 4 or 5 of these reels for you a month for X amount of dollars a month. Now, while that isn't an influencer deal, because it's probably just going to live on their page and not your page, guess what it is? It's income. Right. And income helps with paying bills. Income helps with living. Income helps with taking stress off your back. I think we all know what income helps with, right? And so part of this whole deal is creating enough income so you can really pour yourself into your content creation. So don't forget about those local businesses that know they need to be producing online video and they need to be producing more of it because they don't know how to do it and they probably don't have time. So if you walk in there and you present them an easy option, it's a really solid idea. And a word to you young people meaning like 30 and under, you may be thinking to yourself like, well, nobody's going to listen to me because I'm 17 or I'm 18 or I'm 16 or I'm 21 or whatever you are. Here's the thing. Old farts like me and even people that are older than me, one thing that they hate is creating video content. Like the majority of them, unless it's what they don't like being on camera. I don't like being on camera right now. I just like looking at myself. So I kind of just feel like I'm talking to myself in the mirror. But most people don't like creating video content. And when a young person walks in, who is what? Well, they're a business owner. They're organized. They have a common theme. They have a common niche. They can communicate professionally. They can dress professionally. They know how to shake a hand. They know how to use someone's name. They know how to make eye contact. And when you walk in there and you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and you say, "Hey, look, you know what? I'm headed off to college, but I've started this side business right now where I'm creating video content for local businesses in the area. And in fact, I created a couple examples for your chocolate shop right here. Let me just show you real quick." I think you're going to find you will land some clients doing that, which is just going to give you more exposure and help you create more momentum to go out there and land more deals, right? And so don't just always think that your influencer deal has to be this massive deal where you're endorsing somebody's sugar shack. It might be as simple as you going out there and creating user generated content for businesses who need it. So of course now the next price is going to be, what should I charge? Well, it's going to depend, right? It's going to totally depend on your community size, your engagement. But if you're just creating videos for someone else's business that they can use and then that they can post up, maybe they'll tag you, maybe they won't. Well, there's other services out there that you can look at the pricing of to get an idea of. For instance, there's Billo. I don't know if Billo, where Billo.app is, a service where a lot of businesses go just to buy user-generated content, just to buy videos created by other people talking about their products or services. And on there, people are paying $100, $200 per video. So if I were you, and if I were a young person or just a freelance contractor who wanted to go out there and create more video content while I'm building my influencer business, I'd probably be charging between $100 and $400 a video, depending on how much editing goes into the process, how close they are to my home, how much time it might take, how much I like the people. Don't undercut yourself, but don't overprice yourself either. Because if you're just getting started, you need to get some form of portfolio put together if you're going to offer A, influencer deals, but B, also some form of user generated content. And finally, don't forget, this is all just a numbers game. I promise you this, if you go out there and you knock on 50 businesses' doors in your local town or community and you introduce yourself and you tell them who you are and you show them some of your content, somebody's going to buy. It's just a matter of time. So don't get turned off when the first few deals don't come through. Don't get turned off when you send 100 emails and you don't get a single sale. All right. Every single no is just one step closer to a yes. So you just got to get used to getting rejected and kind of love it. Like you got kind of like love it like you loved it at prom when the girl said no and you went out and you found something else to conquer, right? You got to just get out there and knock on those doors, hit enough phone numbers, hit enough emails, and you will find some deals, right? I think on average, if you send about 30 emails a day is what Social Blue Book teaches, then on average, you should start getting one or two responses coming back to you. So save a template, get out there and do the work, get some sort of theme, but be a professional. Again, thank you for tuning in. This is just a quick thing I wanted to share with you all. And if any of you are micro, nano influencers and you're looking for brand deals, I have clients who are constantly hiring for the little tiny guys to create some content for us. So you can always feel free to reach out. And thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.